Welcome back to So Organised Style Podcast. This is Series 2, Episode 1. Vero Pinson, the designer who is Sakotan Patterns, has gone from strength to strength since she first decided to take time off and bring her bag pattern designs to life 6 years ago. Sakotan Patterns have grown slowly and steadily through word of mouth, creating a huge following of Sakotan addicts on Facebook. That's the name of that Facebook group with over 10,000 followers. You're listening to So Organised Style Podcast, produced by me, Maria Theoharis, Susan Goodwin of Measure Twice, Cut Once Patterns, and Anne Wally, the Pattern Whisperer. Vero has studied communication, however her patterns have shown that a well-developed product will sell itself. In this episode, you'll hear how Vero builds each pattern using techniques she's developed or is interested in developing, so as a sewist we get the benefit of her research and product development. Meanwhile, she always has new bag pattern ideas forming in her creative mind, just bursting to become a new pattern for us. Keep an ear out for Vero's handy tips on using eau de coat, and also how she is able to continue to work as a small business person on her own at home. So welcome, Vero, to our podcast. Thank you for taking the time out to speak to us today.
Thank you, Maria, for inviting me.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to having a nice chat with the both of you.
Your pattern line is a new thing for Anne. You and I have had a good working relationship since you started the pattern line. So I've seen it develop. So Anne, what questions have you got?
Well, I see a lot of people making a lot of bags, and I think it might be addictive. And it seems like you've got more than one bag pattern, Vero. So how many bag patterns have you got so far?
I think a little over 30.
My goodness.
Something like that. I don't know. I would have to count, but some of the patterns are not bags, but I think, between 25 and 30 for bags.
Well, I did have a look on the website to see what type of bags you had, and there's such a variety. Have you got a favourite pattern that you really felt like that just says it all and you'd love it?
No. Actually, I like many styles, and I like in each of them there's a technique or there's a detail, something I like, and I have a hard time going back to the old patterns I made because my mind always gets me to the next one. And I'm excited for creating something new, and there's a lot of different styles because that's what I like. I get bored if I do always the same thing, so I need changes and I need different styles, different techniques to construct the bags. So I need to change things from one pattern to the other. I don't like to have always the same structure for a bag. I don't like to have always the same style because it bores me.
It's a bit addictive, whether you're making them or else making the patterns. It's like you come up with do you dream about it and you go, I know what I'm going to do with the next pattern? Or is it when you start drawing, you kind of start working it through with the puzzle?
It depends, but the two happens actually. Sometimes I have for the next one I'm going to make. I won't tell much about it because it's top secret. But I had an idea for a construction technique, for an assembly technique I wanted to try. So I went with that. But sometimes I will have a detail, I don't know, a pocket or a detail pop up in my mind, and I start sketching that as a focus point and see where I go with it. But I usually dream about sewing patterns or how I can assemble the bag at night very often, like every day, every night. I wake up, I should try this way. And maybe if I had it, maybe. Ideas just come to me, at night often.
Yeah, and how many variations would you go through to get a final pattern?
Well, it varies a lot. Sometimes only 2, 3, and the pattern is almost as it will be when it will get out. Sometimes it can be 10, 15, because I let the creation process go on. So sometimes a prototype that isn't fine, but will bring me someplace else to another idea, and I will follow it, and so on and so on. So sometimes it's 10, 15, but sometimes it's 2, 3. It really depends on the bag I'm I'm creating it's never the same, never the same.
That's good, because then you have your variety in your own designs and in your own, you go with your own ideas. Your imagination feeds your creativity. Would that be right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's exactly right. Yeah. And and it's important to me because, well, you have to enjoy what you do. And I've been making patterns for Sacotin for 6 years now. So you have to keep it interesting for yourself, because if you don't have the the spark to do it anymore, it will show. And it has to stay interesting for me.
Yes.
The creative process has to be enjoyable to me before I can even imagine getting a pattern out. So, yeah.
You've got a whole lot of people who are making these bags, and I've heard you've got a couple of Facebook groups. One's called the Addicts. Now, why would they be called the Addicts?
Well, because as you pointed out earlier, I know some people who've sewn like 30 bags with the same pattern, and it gets addictive, as you said earlier. Bag making gets addictive. So there are many each day. I don't know, there's how many bags they publish on the group, but it's just incredible. Sometimes I usually don't go too much on Facebook on the weekends because, well, family time. So when I go back on Mondays, sometimes there's 100 new pictures of bags published in 2 days. It's it's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, it's very addictive.
So no wonder you need to make new designs all the time, because you've got all these people who are loving the new designs. You've got people waiting for the very next thing.
Yeah, but I only get out like 3 patterns a year, only 3 or 4, sometimes 4, because more is too much for me. I don't know. I couldn't do my job well if I got out more patterns, because I have a process for creating the pattern and for the instructions, the illustration, and for the testing of the patterns. And for me, it's 3 months for the whole thing, from the idea to getting it ready to launch. So I wouldn't be able to, unless I didn't sleep at night. And
and you need to sleep.
Yeah, and my mind wouldn't have any ideas if you need to refill, your imagination and refill your creativity between patterns. If you just go from one to the next, I don't know, I will be exhausted mentally, I think.
Yes.
And I would be doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not something I would enjoy. So.
Wow, that's huge. So you've really found that it's lovely that bags only, you don't need 4 meters of fabric. So that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's not a gown. So some are very small, so you can use your scraps, and it's fun. You can always match different fabrics if you have small pieces laying around. So.
And the other thing too with the bag patterns that I've seen from the various addicts is, it can be people who haven't made bags before and they get a really good result. And then you've got the ones who continually make them and they have the different colours, the different textures. They use different bindings.
Hardware? Bindings?
Yeah, different hardware. Yeah, they're very creative. I find it inspiring just to jump in there every week or so just to see what people are doing. And it inspires me with colours and prints with my clothes making. I don't do bags very often. I do them at Christmas time as presents now because of, all the designs that you've got. Just to see the colours and textures that they're using for bags is actually a good way of inspiring clothing design too.
Yeah, and because when you've made a bag a few times, then you can have fun and go a bit outside of what's safe and try with different textures and matching prints. And there's always something different to do with the pattern, even if you've done it, I don't know, 10 times already. You always can find something new and something excited, new prints to match. So yeah, well, it's a bit like clothing. You can often find new ways to make it interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
Anytime you've got a pattern and a piece of fabric, it's funny that once you've made something and you'll go past a bit of fabric, you go, that, even buying fabric, you don't need to buy a lot to make a bag either. So it's a great present. It's the time that counts, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's the fact that you thought about someone and you made something special for that person. It's what's at the core of a handmade gift, sewing or any jewelry making, anything. If you made something yourself for someone, that's the time you put in and the love you put in. It's a real present.
It is. It's the love and the thought for that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a bag's always useful. Always.
Yes, except for my husband who doesn't wear bags. I made the last pattern that was out was a men's bag, and he doesn't wear it. So I just ask my friends, my male friends around me, because what they think of the design sometimes, because it doesn't. Well, no, bags are not for men. So
Oh no!
he's not very interested in it, but well.
If you've got someone who will carry a bag and it's big enough, really a man doesn't have to worry, does he?
Yeah.
But if you're happy to be with a person who doesn't carry a big bag, well, then you do need your own bag.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have this problem, apparently. But I did made him a wallet.
Oh, did you, with the pattern, the latest pattern?
I made him compare, but it was last year because I started on the compare pattern last year, and it was more complicated. So his is a little more complicated with a billfold pocket added from what the one came out. It was very more complicated, and I'm not sure everybody could have made it this way. So I just simplified it for the launch, and he's been using it for like a year and a half, and he tells me, none of my leather wallet has lasted that much time, and it still looks great. It's just fabric, it's cotton. It was a cotton print that looked like, kind of looked like leather a little, but it was a cotton print. And I just put Odicot on it. Do you know Odicot? It's a product to protect.
Yep, I've got it. I bought some in the States. I've got it here just so that I can do that. What do you call it? It's like...
It's to protect and when it rains or doesn't get wet.
Yes.
Waterproof.
Waterproofing, yeah. And you can only get it a couple of places here in Australia. So I bought it in the States last time I was there, and I brought it with me.
It's useful, and you can put with this product 1 to 3 layers of product, and the aspect will change. Will get more like plastic, plasticky. Yes. With the third layer, with just one layer, it will be pretty much the same. But be careful; you can change the colors slightly. So you need to make a test on your fabric, and it works best with cotton. Not with cotton, it's fine, but with other stuff, not so much. And if you, I'm just giving you tips. if you interface your fabric,
yes,
you have to interface first, and then put the Odicot.
Not the other way around. Because the heat will make it warp. Yeah,
and if you do it the other way around, just remember to take how do you call it? It's sheets of paper used for cooking.
Baking paper. Baking paper. Yeah.
Baking paper side that has the Odicot before you.
Yes.
You iron your interfacing, and you have to use the baking paper to set the Odicot anyway. So
that's fabulous. So have you, Maria, made a wallet yet? Have you used the pattern?
I've not made the wallet, but last year it was the Samba. Yeah, Samba. I made so that We Are the Fabric Store. They had some perforated leather hides. I think they were selling them for $20 a hide, so they were quite large. So I bought 3 of those, and I made 3 of the Sambas with that, and it had a contrast on the bottom. It was like because they were Christmas and it was kind of white, I got a piece of fabric that had a sheen on it as well, and it ended up being Christmas presents for my sisters and my sisters-in-laws. They loved it.
Well, that's unique. Yeah, and the fabric store has the most beautiful fabric. So and so what colour was the leather hide?
It was an off-white colour, but as Vero said, I actually made the pattern 3 times in different cotton. So the first time was in denim, and I didn't use the metal, the hardware. I sewed on the straps.
The handles, yeah.
By the time I got to the leather ones, then I used the different handles, etc., metal handles. Because by that stage I knew what I was doing, and I was comfortable with the instructions. because various instructions are very clear, and there's sort of the steps, the various stages are in sort of bite-sized chunks. So by that stage, I thought the only thing I had to deal with was the leather, and that was easy enough with a Teflon foot, and I used Mr. Sheen as well to make sure that it flowed through the machine properly, and the leather needle. But Vero has all of those instructions in the pattern instructions, like the needles, all the different sort of linings, interfacings. You've always got all that information there.
Great.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a pattern review on using the patterns, Maria?
I think I did the samba last year. And the backpack.
Limbo.
Yeah, I did
all
that
right,
one.
I'm going to check that out on Pattern Review and see what you've made. That's such a good way of checking out, someone to see, whether or not they've made one and what they did, as well as joining Facebook, which is, gosh, you'd be so inspired with all the people sewing up the bags and you'd try different ones. What a fabulous group.
Actually, I have a question. So in the English-speaking world, we've got Pattern Review where people put up reviews of patterns, etc. Is there one in the French-speaking internet, anything like that?
No. There was one that tried to launch, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, but it didn't take off. Yes, no, I'm saying, yes, there's one. It's called Thread and Needles.
Oh, okay.
It's in English. The title is English, but it's a French community, and you can share your project. So you a bit like Pattern Review, where you write the name of the pattern, where you found it, the different fabrics, and what you thought about it.
Okay.
Yeah, Thread and Needles.
Thread and Needles. From my experience and from what I've seen, I know that with Sakotan, the Facebook page has got at least 10,000 people, 10,000 followers there at any point in time, and they're always making their versions, and they're so inspiring. And there are a couple of other people that I know who do clothes patterns that have got a French-speaking background. So I'm always interested to find other pattern makers who are not English natives, so to speak, and see what they're doing, because we're only one part of the world. There are so many other languages with other patterns, and that's why I've always admired what you do, but I've always been supportive, because I think it's good to have patterns available for people in any language. Sorry, that's me on my soapbox, being supportive.
Yeah, and that's why I translated in English the patterns, and that's why you prove them, Aria. It's because English still is the language that most people understand. So for people, not for native English speakers particularly, but also for Spanish people who don't speak French, for Italian people who don't speak French, German people who don't speak French, they will buy the patterns and get the English version, and they can work out with that usually. So.
Yeah.
So it's a way to open up to the world and to all the countries who don't speak French also. But there are so many patterns all around the world, and in different languages. And sometimes I've made some Japanese patterns, so I don't speak Japanese, so sorry. But they are drawings. They're technical drawings, and the drawings for the instruction are very precise, so you can make it without understanding everything, any kanji, any of the words. So it's fun to see what's made in different cultures and countries and how they approach things. Sometimes it's different. It's not the same techniques, and so it's an opening to the world of sewing.
It is.
I was thinking about the patterns. Are they paper patterns or PDFs, Vero?
No, they are PDFs only.
So how many pieces of photocopy paper would it take for one bag? Like, when you print it out and you've got to stick all the papers together.
Yeah, for the patterns, because you don't have to print out these instructions. The instructions you can follow on your iPhone, on your phone, on your computer. For the paper patterns, I think the range is between 4 and 8.
Oh, that's not much, is it?
No, it's not much, because it's not clothing. Clothing, it's much bigger, and And usually I do, when possible, half patterns, to cut on the fold. Because if people want to print out another once more to get the full pattern, they can. But if people don't just want to print too many papers, they just print the half pattern and they can work with that.
And from what I've seen in the patterns, I know that you tend to place each piece on one page, so you don't have too many pages to glue together for one piece of a bag pattern. So you're very clever with that, very thoughtful.
It's one thing I take my time with. I'm attentive to, not having too many, no margin to cut out and too many pages to tape together, because I know for myself when I have to do it, it's kind of annoying. So I try to go with the least possible pages to cut out and to tape together.
That's fantastic. That's really fantastic. I don't do PDFs for clothing. It's just I don't have time to get on the ground and stick everything together. So that sounds like it's a possibility. A PDF for a bag pattern sounds like something that's doable. So great job. It's a great job.
Yeah, no, it's not the same kind of hassle to tape together patterns for bags as for clothes. Yeah. But I bought a few years ago, like 10 years ago, I bought a A3. It's a larger printer pattern, the printer.
Printer, yeah.
I bought a larger printer just to be able to print out the PDF patterns for the clothing on larger paper size, because it was getting really on my nerve too to have to tape. But PDFs are so convenient, you buy it, you have it right away.
And you can keep it on a cloud somewhere, so you don't even have to leave it at home. You can have it virtual, sitting somewhere, and you can download it.
I keep only the pattern pieces, and I never print out the instructions for patterns, for PDF patterns. I just follow them on the computer, because my computer is right close to my sewing machine.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's right there. So I just will keep the pattern pieces printed out. And it's not too much space.
The other clever thing that I've always admired is that with the patterns that you put out, you'll have more than one version. You'll have a large or a small. And I just think that's another good thing for someone who's making bags, that they can have more than one size.
It's something that's current, that's usual, that's with clothing. You get, different sizes, of course, because we not all the same sizes, but you can get variations on the same pattern in clothing, but never in bags. So when I started making mine, I was like, it would be so easy just to this simple variation. I should add it. And so, I like to get my patterns, like the Mambo is in 3 sizes.
Yes.
You have the small, the medium, and the large to go to school and all your larger bindings in it.
Yes.
And I think it's better for the sewists. So I always, when I work, I'm always I take the point of view of the people that will use the pattern. So if I can get more for money and more for, why not do it? It's just a little more time, but it's not a mountain to climb. So I'll just do it.
That's fantastic. And also good if you've only got a little bit of fabric. So when you order, say, one bag, do you have to say small, medium or large, or do you get a small, medium, large?
No, you get everything. You buy the style of the bag. If you buy the Mambo pattern, you get the 3 sizes in the PDF. You don't just one. You can. That wouldn't be fun. I don't know. I wouldn't like to buy the same pattern 3 times just to get 3 sizes. I would find it really, as a consumer, I wouldn't find it very nice. So
that's right. So it's kind of like having multi-size patterns that we would have in clothing. You get multi-size with the bag pattern. So we're really lucky.
Not always, because sometimes I think a design is not fit for this kind of thing. So I will just do just 1 or 2 if I think 2 sizes can be okay with the style, or 3. But it varies. It varies on what I think is appropriate as a sizing for the bags.
Okay.
That's great, because sometimes you might only have a very small piece of fabric, and sometimes people, just little purses are very handy to put inside bigger bags. So it's fantastic. Just love that you get 3 socks.
It's good.
Not each time, but but when I can and when I think it's appropriate for the bag, I'll try and add more sizes. Or if I can't add more sizes, I will try and put in variations for there's a wallet pattern where it's one size, obviously. There's one wallet pattern with 2 sizes, the last one that got out, but the first one I launched was only one size. It's a larger wallet, and because it wasn't going to put out more sizes, it wouldn't fit. I added like 6, I think, variations for the front of the wallet with different designs possible. So I always try and add something fun, an extra for the sewist.
Wow. Go back and re-look on your webpage, and we'll have to put the details down, Maria. And
yeah, look, I'll definitely put the links to the Facebook groups. They're very inspiring and they're ongoing, and they're really good to have a look at because it gives you a very good idea of what you can do with just the small pieces of fabric, and they make something so stunning every time I look.
Really good for evening bags too, especially the smaller size, which looks more elegant, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you've got the same type of pattern. So if you really loved a style, you could, the 3 different variations, which makes it a different bag in a way because you use it for different things. Very versatile. You know, when you were very, very young as a child, were you into bags in a big way? What attracted you to making bag patterns?
It's a complicated question. I think I wasn't into clothing when I was a kid, but I was into costumes. I like to have fun and dress up, and I was going to LARPs, live action role playing games. So I like costume and I like having fun. And bags for me, it's what I have the most fun with because you can change bags every day. It's you can wear someday just a very classic bag and then go with a crazy bag, and it's a bag can change your whole look by itself. I think it's fun and it's very technical to make a bag, and I like technique and like puzzles. So I think that's why I went to that area of sewing, of pattern making.
And Anne would understand the concept of having different bags for different looks because Anne is our style person. She's the style guru.
Yeah, I think bags are really fun. You can make a statement with a bag, and sometimes the bag says more about who you are than the clothes you wear. I think it's for me.
I think that's true. I think that is true because it's something where it's the creative part of you that if the body's not doing what it should do, at least you can make a bag. I suppose it's that crossover where you can at least show people what you've made. It's handicrafts, but also fashion. So it's a really good way of, making a statement when, until you work out what to do. Our bodies always change shape, and once you kind of are used to having a certain way of sewing something and then you have children, that becomes very complicated, and then finding out who you are. Whereas a bag, you can do that. It's very doable, and it's a conversation starter with meeting people because it's an easy subject to talk about, and you find people a bit like you who are creative. So I think that's a great way of keeping your hand in the creative aspect and finding people just like you as well.
Yeah, because sewing clothing can be frustrating, when you can't get a proper fit, when it doesn't fit properly. I know sometimes I'm getting very frustrated with my garment sewing because whatever I do, there's the pattern I can't make it work for me. I don't know, it doesn't fit. It's just too long. I have a short waist. I'm short-waisted, so and you have to do the FBA and stuff. And so sometimes you don't feel great. You've made your pattern, you did the fitting, and still you don't feel great in what you've made because So making bags for me was really having fun with sewing. When I was getting too frustrated with garment sewing, I would go and make bags because it's a way to, it's going to fit you.
Yes. And you haven't wasted your time. You've actually got a successful item at the end of it, and you can use it.
You can use it. You can give it as a present for someone, and it's much easier than to sew in garments as a present. So you can make small accessories and bags, and it's safe. When you're starting a bag, even if at the end it's not perfect, it's a bit so straight, or you weren't the best at stop stitching this line. It's okay because you still made it, and
That's
it doesn't give you a negative image of yourself because you don't wear it on your body. Sometimes I don't know, when I've some dresses, and when I tried them on, I was looking at myself, and it made me feel bad about myself because I was seeing all the things I didn't like. It was in fast. So I don't have this with bags. So so I think that's why I went mostly in pattern making for bags. Yeah, it made me feel good each time.
I get that. And it's a safe present to give to someone. I think I made someone a top once for Christmas, and it wasn't the right size. And it's such a disappointment for the person trying to put it on as the person who made it. It's a bit of a sad moment. So making a bag, that they will use it, what they like, and it's easy to put all those components together and give them something that it'll be useful during the week, and a change and a style statement as well.
Yeah, I know a lot in the Facebook group. We're going to close to Christmas, and we're starting to see all the bags that are made by the members for Christmas. So, and there's a lot of Sakotan bags, or I have a free pattern for a glasses case,
Yes, I know that one.
This one has been made, I don't know how many times, for Christmas and presents. And so it's fun to imagine all these bags made for my patterns that will be under the tree at Christmas. It's so nice. Really great.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's a little piece of me that is shared, in these homes.
And you've got a great reputation, and you've tested the bags. So that's one thing that you don't just make a pattern up. You get it made, and you get people to see how they feel about it and the instructions. So you've gone to a lot of trouble to make it a successful experience as well.
Yeah, for me, clear instructions and the testing of the patterns are very important, because I don't want to put out something that is half done, half-assed.
Yeah, half-assed.
Well, my name is on it,
Yep.
So I want to put out the best thing I can put out, and I want the person who will use the pattern to have an enjoyable experience. I don't want her to get frustrated. I'll make the best pattern and best instruction I can make, and it's the pattern testing phase is important because, well, it gives you a feedback that is much needed to see if you need to add more instructions, more illustration. If your pattern is fine, it's very important to have this feedback from testers. Very important.
Yeah. Very thorough.
Oh, it is. They're very thorough. And there's so many people that are using them, and they're reusing them. So that really shows you that the patterns work, they're well received, and people love them. Absolutely love them.
It's great. It's kind of, I know this. I know that people like my pattern. I have a very good reputation, and I'm so focused on my work all the time that it's something I know in the back of my mind, but I'm always just so focused on the work that I think I don't take enough time to realize it and enjoy the fact that I have made a good job. I did a good job, and I should enjoy it. And sometimes most of the time I just don't take the time to just go.
Yes,
I can be proud of myself, but
yeah,
you can.
I don't want to do it too much also, because I have the feeling, I don't know if it's a moral or unconscious thing, but in French we say se reposer sur ses lauriers. It means that, if you've done good, and so you don't feel like you have to do so much then, because you've done good already, so you don't work as much. So I work a lot. I'm a hard worker. I enjoy working, so that's why I work a lot. So I don't take too much time in my day to think, well, I'm so great. No, I just focus on the work, and that's what keeps me going. Because I enjoy it.
It's the moment you say that I think, you do that, and then you'll trip over and it's all lost. And it's like, oh my goodness. I always find that you can always persevere more and look forward, but it's lovely to feel satisfied with what you do, and it makes your heart feel very at peace. And I think that's what it's about, doing something creative that's appreciated by people, and That's a great feeling. There'll be people who have never heard of you and they will be looking to see your patterns and looking at the Facebook to see the amazing amount of bags that have been made and be very inspired. So there'll be more addicts on their way.
The Facebook addict group is what makes it real for me because, you know, I work alone, so I don't have, except from testers, I don't really have feedbacks. And when the Facebook group makes it all real to me, I see the finished bags of so many people. It's tells me it's not just in your small room making bags and patterns, but people are sewing what you made. And so that's a great feeling to see that people are enjoying making them and they are proud of themselves at the end of their sewing. Seeing that they are proud of themselves, it's the best for me. It's because they made something from me. Okay, that's fine. But if they made it and were not happy, and it would make me sad to have made somebody else sad, you know. So when someone post a picture of her bags, and she says that she's very proud and she's happy with what she made, that makes me happy. I feel like I help make someone else happy about themselves.
And you do that every day with your patterns.
Well, I hope so.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. It's fantastic. It's lovely to have met you, Vero, and I'm really thrilled that you get such satisfaction and that you have so many ideas that just keep coming. So you're in the right role and you're in the right position to inspire others to make things, and that helps with mental health as well, because when we're making things, it takes our mind off the things in life that we can't sometimes cope with. So it's helpful in so many different ways, which I think is just fabulous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very, sewing it can be a therapy. Yeah, I know when I was very stressed out at work several years ago, I will sew, and you have to be so focused on your project, because if you're not focused, you're going to make a mess. So you're very focused and you're enjoying it. So it's easy to be focused on it, that all the negative thing just go to the background, and you have a little peace for the moment you're sewing. So it's a bit like meditation, I was saying last time, because I meditate every morning before I start my day, because I have a very busy mind and I can overwhelm myself. I can put more stress on myself just because I think about the stress I could put on myself. You see the picture. So I meditate every morning just to keep that in mind, to keep that it's an inner dialogue. It's not the real thing that goes on. It's just the thought just keep coming, but I don't ask for them to come. So you learn with meditation just to take notice of all the thoughts that comes to your head, but you don't grab to them. You let them go through.
So your mind flow.
It's a bit of the same feeling you have when you're sewing. You're very focused in meditation, you're focused on the breath, and when you sew, you're focused on your project, on your sewing, on the stitch line you're sewing. Yeah, it's a way to focus on something and to clear everything else. It's a bit of a relief.
That's a good way of explaining how you manage working on your own in your environment and being creative. A lot of people work with others and they have to deal with that, but you have to deal with all of those thoughts coming through your mind. So it's a really good strategy you have.
And I have no one to bounce off ideas when I have doubt. I can't ask. Well, I have a daughter, a husband, but I can't ask them because their answer usually just upset me more. So But so I don't have a coworker to bounce off ideas, or to when I'm in doubt to comfort me in a direction. So it can be very stressful working alone and having all the decisions to make on your own. It's been what has been the most difficult for me in the business side of things, because you have to handle everything, you have to make every decision, and if you don't make the decision quickly, then it's very bad for your thinking, because the later you take the decision, the more time you have to self-doubt yourself, and it's not a good cycle. You have to learn to take decisions rapidly and stick with it.
You break that circle of doubt.
It's something I had to learn. Really, I didn't didn't have to do it before. So it's something I had to learn to take decisions quickly, because I noticed that if I didn't take the decisions very quickly, I would just get off track and not go ahead with the work I had to do, because I wouldn't able to take a decision. So just take a decision and stick with it and hope for the best.
We could all do that, Maria, couldn't we, when we're deciding what to wear to frock tails coming up and what to make next, and make a decision and just do it.
And just follow the path of that decision. And, you've made that decision, you just follow it through. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You've got another decision to make from there.
Well, that's helped me tonight, so I'm very thankful for that.
Great.
Yeah, you have to commit. You have to commit to a direction at one point. You have to, that dress or that dress. Well, you commit, and if it was a bad choice, well, you know it for the next time. But
yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Look, thank you so much for taking us through what you do with your bags and the process that you go through, because, it's always easy for someone who's buying a pattern to go, oh, I like this or I don't like that. But there is a person behind that pattern line, and you've helped us realise everything that you go through. And you've only just told us a bit. We don't know everything that you go through, but there is always a person who is going through so much to try and bring us patterns. And I'm really pleased that I've been able to help you along the way.
When we are on the outside, we only see the tip of the iceberg, which is the store. And I don't want to get too much into it because it's not very interesting. Well, but yeah, thank you, Maria, because it's been over 6 years since you've been.
Has.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great partnership.
So,
look, I only do one small part. Vero does everything. She makes every decision. It's her business, and I'm more than happy to help when I can.
Well, it's a small but very important part to me, because I feel reassured, So it's very necessary to me. So thank you, Maria, to be up for it every time. It's very, very nice of you, and I'm very grateful.
Well, thank you.
To have found you.
Easy. And look, for this podcast, I'll make sure that we've got the English translation so that we can, I thank you for your offer to make the French translation, because, I'm really interested through this podcast to find more people who do what you do in varying languages, because, okay, English has got a lot, but every other culture and country must have people like you who are doing what you're doing.
Sure.
It's going to be a great discovery for us, I think. But I'm really pleased that, we discovered each other. So thank you again for being on our podcast, and thank you again for doing your bag patterns for everybody. Yeah.
Well,
it's been a great day.
It's been a great day, yeah. And look, have a wonderful day too, Vero, because I know it's, 11 o'clock in the morning now?
Yeah. 11.
Yep. So thank you for letting us come into your normal day.
Well, it's my pleasure. It was very nice having a chat with Anne and you. And best of luck with your podcast and interviewing, designers and sewists from all around the world. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. We'll do our best.
It's great meeting different people doing different things. So we're very thrilled. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. If you haven't seen Sakotan patterns yet, go to Sakotan, that's SACOTIN.com, and you can access either the French or English PDF versions. For this podcast, we have on our website both the French and English transcript for you. Listeners will find a special tool developed by Vero on our website and available in both French and English. Vero's done this on our behalf because she and I have a very good working relationship, as you heard in this podcast. This episode of So Organised Style Podcast was produced by me, Maria Theoharis, and Anne Wally, with permission from Vero Pinson of Sakotan Patterns, sound by bensound.com. So Organised Style, spelt with an S, not a Z, is available on our website soorganizedstylepodcast.com, with all the links to this special podcast, including the transcripts and the special tool that Vero has provided us with. You can also find our podcasts on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Castbox, and now on Libsyn. Subscribe to our podcast to catch every episode, both in Series 1 and Series 2. Tell your friends about our podcast. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed listening.